India is not just a country of festivals, food, and culture. It's also home to one of the most powerful armies in the world. Yes, the Indian Army. Brave, bold, and fearless. From the icy peaks of the Himalayas to the hot deserts of Rajasthan, Indian soldiers stand ready 24 by 7. And this is not just a story of numbers or weapons. It's a story of courage, of sacrifice, of pride. Imagine this: a soldier leaves his family behind. He walks into the freezing cold where temperatures fall below minus 30 degrees. No mobile phone, no internet, only one mission: protect the motherland. That's the spirit of the Indian Army. India's army is not just big, it's powerful, modern, and experienced. It is the third largest army in the world. With over 1.2 million active soldiers and more than 9 lakh reserve soldiers, India is always ready for any threat, no matter how big. The training? It's among the toughest in the world. Soldiers are taught to fight even when they are hungry, tired, or injured. They are trained to face bullets, bombs, and even the harshest nature. Because for them, duty comes first. Always. The Indian Army has fought many wars, and each time it has shown the world that it does not fear anyone. Whether it was the 1947 war, the 1965 war, the 1971 war, or the Kargil war in 1999, India stood tall. Brave hearts gave their lives so we can sleep peacefully. Do you know about the 1971 war? India helped Bangladesh become free. Pakistan was defeated badly. Over 90,000 Pakistani soldiers surrendered. It was one of the biggest surrenders in military history. And it was the Indian Army that made it happen. Now you may wonder, how powerful is India compared to Pakistan? Let's talk facts. India's army is much bigger, much more trained, and has better technology. Indian tanks, missiles, and aircraft are far superior. India has its own defense factories. It even makes its own fighter jets like Tejas and advanced missiles like Agni and BrahMos. Pakistan mostly depends on help from other countries like China. But India builds and tests its own. India has nuclear power. Yes, both India and Pakistan have nuclear weapons. But India follows a no first use policy. It means India will never attack first with a nuclear bomb. But if someone attacks India, the reply will be massive, and everyone knows that. India also has satellites that keep an eye on enemies. These are made by ISRO, India's space agency. With the help of these, Indian soldiers know exactly what's happening at the border, even if it's pitch dark. That's how advanced India has become. Indian Army also helps in peacekeeping across the world. The United Nations sends peace missions to dangerous places like Africa and the Middle East. And guess what? India has sent more soldiers than any other country to help maintain peace in these regions. That's why the world respects the Indian Army. There are many special forces in India, like Para-SF, Marcos, and NSG. These are not ordinary soldiers. They are trained to enter enemy areas silently and finish the job in minutes. Pakistan's army fears them the most, because when Indian special forces move, they don't leave a trace. Remember the surgical strike in 2016? Indian soldiers crossed the line of control. They entered Pakistani territory and destroyed terror camps and came back without a single casualty. That's the power of planning. That's the power of training. That's the power of India. In 2019, after the Pulwama attack, Indian Air Force entered deep into Pakistan's Balakot area and bombed terrorist camps. That was a message: India will not tolerate terrorism. And if someone tries to harm India, the reply will come, strong and quick. Pakistan tries to act smart with its proxy war. It sends terrorists across the border. But India has changed. This is not the India of 1990s. Today, the answer is given not just with words, but with action. Strong action. Indian Army is not only powerful on land, it is backed by a strong Air Force and Navy. The Indian Navy guards the oceans and is one of the top 5 naval forces in the world. India also has nuclear submarines that can stay underwater for months. This is something Pakistan doesn't have. And the Indian Air Force? Fast, fearless, and deadly. With fighter jets like Rafale, Sukhoi, and Mirage, India can hit targets within minutes. The pilots are trained to fly in any condition, day or night, rain or snow. But the real strength of the Indian Army is not just in weapons, it is in the heart, in the spirit of soldiers, in their belief that the country comes first, always and every time. Let's take a moment to imagine a young soldier, just 20 years old. His name is not known to the world. but he stands on a post 18,000 feet high. Snow everywhere, wind is howling, but he stands, he doesn't move, because if he moves, the enemy might enter. So he stays. Hours become days, still he stays. That's the Indian soldier. That's why India is respected. That's why the Indian army is feared, not just by Pakistan, but by every enemy. Pakistan's army has many weaknesses. It has been involved in politics, corruption, and even controlling the government. In India, the army stays away from politics. It follows the constitution. It respects democracy. That makes India stronger, because a professional army is always better than a political one. Also, India's defense budget is more than 5 times that of Pakistan. This means more modern weapons, better training, and stronger infrastructure. India builds tanks, ships, submarines, aircraft, all within the country. Pakistan buys most of its equipment from China and other countries. That's the difference. Indian soldiers are also helping people in times of floods, earthquakes, and disasters. Whenever there is a problem, people call the army, and the army comes without asking for anything. They rescue people, carry them on their shoulders, and save lives. That's what makes them heroes. The whole country celebrates them, on Independence Day, on Republic Day, and even every day. Because every Indian knows if they sleep peacefully at night, it's because a soldier is awake on the border. From Kashmir to Kanyakumari, from Arunachal to Rajasthan, the Indian army stands tall, always, silently, strongly. And in the next part, we'll go even deeper. We'll tell the secret stories of bravery. We'll share how Indian soldiers win battles without firing bullets. And we'll show more comparisons, how India is far ahead of Pakistan, not just in war, but in strategy, intelligence, and honor. In the first part, we saw how powerful, brave, and advanced the Indian army is. We saw how Indian soldiers protect the country with courage, modern weapons, and strong willpower. We also compared it with Pakistan and understood how far ahead India truly is. Now let's go even deeper. Let's uncover stories of true bravery, real incidents, unseen sacrifices, and the unmatched strength of the Indian army, not just on the battlefield, but in mind, heart, and soul. Let's begin with something shocking. Many times, India wins wars without even starting them. How? Through strategy, through planning, through intelligence. Indian soldiers don't fight blindly. They think before every move. They prepare for every situation. This is where India beats Pakistan every time. Let's take the example of the Kargil War in 1999. Pakistan's army secretly sent its soldiers across the border and occupied Indian positions on high mountains. They thought India wouldn't know, but the Indian army found out, and what happened next shocked the world. Indian soldiers climbed steep mountains under enemy fire. They fought in snow, in darkness, in thin oxygen. But they didn't stop. Slowly, step by step, they took back every inch of land. They forced Pakistan's soldiers to run. Many of them died, and India won back Kargil. Pakistan lost not just the war, but also its image across the world. And the world supported India, because India never attacks first. But if attacked, India replies with full force. Now let's talk about Indian intelligence. India has powerful intelligence agencies like RAW, Research and Analysis Wing, and IB, Intelligence Bureau. These silent warriors collect secret information. They find enemy plans before they happen. Pakistan fears RAW more than its army, because RAW knows what's going on even before it begins. It was RAW that gave inputs before the surgical strikes. It was RAW that helped during Balakot airstrikes, and many times RAW has silently stopped big attacks before they could happen. Pakistan has an agency called ISI, but it often supports terrorism. It trains militants, and this is why Pakistan is in trouble today. The world knows the truth. India, on the other hand, uses its intelligence to protect peace and stop violence. Now let's talk about another big strength, technology. The Indian Army uses smart tech, drones, night vision, radar systems, satellite imaging, cybersecurity tools. These tools help Indian soldiers plan better, move faster, hit harder. India is investing in AI, artificial intelligence, for defense. In future wars, this will make a big difference. India is also developing robot soldiers, unmanned tanks, and advanced defense systems. This means fewer Indian lives are put at risk and the enemy is still crushed. Pakistan doesn't have this level of technology. It depends on other countries. India builds its own systems. And this is what gives India an edge in every war. Now let's talk about unity and morale. In the Indian Army, soldiers come from every state: Punjab, Kerala, Gujarat, Assam, Tamil Nadu, Jammu, and more. Different languages, different cultures, but one goal: India first. This unity makes the Indian Army unbreakable. Soldiers celebrate each other's festivals. They eat together, sleep together, train together, fight together. This is brotherhood, and no one can defeat a united force. Pakistan's army often faces issues of internal politics, mistrust, and regional imbalance. This weakens them from the inside. Now let's talk about women in the Indian Army. India is empowering women in the military. Female officers are now flying fighter jets, commanding troops, and even going to war zones. This shows how modern and open the Indian Army is. Pakistan is still far behind in this. Their military rarely gives women frontline roles. And what about international support? India has strong defense ties with countries like the USA, France, Russia, Israel, Japan, and Australia. These countries sell advanced weapons to India, join in military exercises, and support India in global forums. Pakistan mostly depends on China and sometimes Turkey. But even China knows India is not easy to fight. Now let's talk about real-life bravery. Have you heard of Captain Vikram Batra? During the Kargil War, he captured Point 5140 and shouted, "Ye dil mange more," a signal of success. He was fearless. Later, he went to save another team and was martyred. But his courage inspired the whole nation. Or Major Sandeep Unnikrishnan, who was martyred in the 26/11 Mumbai attacks. He saved several hostages before he was killed in action. His last words, "Don't come up, I'll handle them." Or Rifleman Jaswant Singh Rawat, who fought alone in the 1962 war against China. He held back the enemy for 72 hours, alone, with only his courage and gun. These are just a few names. The Indian Army has thousands of heroes, some known, many unknown, but all of them live in the heart of every Indian. And what about the soldier's life? They live in the toughest places: snow-covered mountains, hot deserts, rainy jungles, sometimes no food, sometimes no sleep, but they don't complain. They miss their child's birthday, they miss family weddings, festivals, but they stay at the post, guarding the country. That's why Indians say, Indian Army is not just a job, it's a lifetime of service. Now let's talk about Pakistan's fear. Pakistan knows it cannot win a direct war with India. That's why it uses terrorism. But now even that is failing. India has tightened its borders, killed top terrorists, captured infiltrators, and even exposed Pakistan at international platforms. Even countries that once supported Pakistan are now standing with India. And it's because of the discipline, strength, and honesty of the Indian Armed Forces. Let's also talk about Make in India in defense. India is building its own weapons: Tejas fighter jets, Arjun tanks, Pinaka rocket systems, Dhanush artillery guns, BrahMos missiles, INS Vikrant, India's own aircraft carrier. India is not just buying weapons, it's building them, testing them, using them. Pakistan, still dependent on others, mostly China. And we all know imported weapons don't always mean reliable weapons. Let's now talk about cyber warfare. Future wars won't just be about bombs, they will be about hacking. India is ready. It has cyber command units, trained experts, defense firewalls. The Indian military is preparing for the next generation of battles. India is also securing its space. It has anti-satellite missiles. If needed, India can destroy enemy satellites. That's serious power. In all of this, there's one truth that stands tall. India never attacks first. But if attacked, it replies harder, stronger, smarter. India's army doesn't fight to show off. It fights to protect peace. And remember this, being powerful is not just about weapons or numbers. It's about the will to fight, the heart to stand up, the courage to protect the innocent. And the Indian Army has it all. That's why the world respects India. That's why Pakistan fears India. That's why every Indian sleeps in peace at night. Because they know a soldier is watching, a soldier is ready, a soldier is standing strong. So next time you see a soldier, say a silent thank you. Because he or she is the reason the flag flies high, the reason we are free, the reason India stands tall and always will. Jai Hind.